Ich glaube
Englisch.
Ah, okay. Good to know. Sonst fange ich an, hier Deutsch zu labern.
Yeah, I think we are live.
Yes, we are live. Hi, team. Hi, world.
Oh,
Hello.
Nice to see you. How are you?
how are
Great.
you guys? We are wonderful. We are so happy.
That's
We
good.
are ready to give this Thursday a go.
Very cool. All right, let's get started then. We are all over the world. Ersin and I are placed in Turkey right now. Maija is streaming today from Latvia. And talking about streaming, Ersin, please remind on how many channels we are live today, because the technical side is your side.
Today we are live on 4 channels: Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Welcome, world.
Welcome, world.
Welcome,
So from
world.
anywhere where you are streaming us today, hi to you guys. This is our bi-weekly get-together where we discuss the social media posts of the previous weeks. So this week we have the topics of help, just translating it from German to English, application, so job application, and success and failure. So we're going to look back at the posts from Maija and myself of the previous weeks regarding these topics, and tell you behind the scenes why we wrote about it, discuss the comments, what people were saying, because very often, like at least before, I was getting so many questions about like the posts that I make. Liene, like, how come you write about it? Isn't this too straightforward to write something like that? And then Ersin had an idea of us going live and actually talking about it, because post is one thing, but actually the story behind that is something that we want to tell you, because recruitment is a crazy world and there's so much to talk about it. And this is here for you, this format, to hear much more about our day-to-day work and how we do things. So yeah, let's get started. I would say if you have some questions, let us know in the chat. Ask some questions. We will go into the questions afterwards. But other than that, thank you, Ersin, for the setup. You can see below all the job openings that we are having right now. So if you find yourself in one of these ones, feel free to reach out to any one of us. We will happily help you. Other than that, join the discussion and just relax.
Okay.
Where do we start today?
I will.
Today topics are...
So the topics are health, failure, and success, and application.
Job applications.
Let's start with job application, I think.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's go.
You started with my post. I was not ready for this one. Okay. So this post was actually very, very good in terms of views, because I like to look at the statistics as well, because I believe it says a lot if it was good or less good. So this post got over 9,300 impressions, 33 likes, and a discussion of 6 comments. So I was very happy about that. I was touching up on a cover letter topic. I know it's very discussed. Applicants hate writing cover letters or motivation letters. Myself as a recruiter, I can really say that I do not pay attention to cover letters at all, I would say, because in my recruiter life, I have seen so many copy pastes, so many wrong names with which I was addressed, wrong company names, like everything wrong about it, that it was not worth the time to read. I have to be very honest. Very rarely I saw something that I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like it's worth the read. But here in my post, I was really talking about alternatives to the classic cover letter, because I think the whole application process, CV and cover letter, is a little outdated. And so that's why I suggested a video cover letter, like a short format where you just simply say why you would like to work for the company and what value you would add. I think it's also a nice way how someone can express their motivation, because it's so true how you speak. Also, you see the body language, the vibes, and I think that says a lot about a person. Then I do follow one guy, Austin Belchek, on LinkedIn, and I'm a big fan of his approach because he graduated, he was writing hundreds of applications, and it was simply just not working out. He was not getting any interviews. And then he suggested, instead of a classic cover letter, to come up with this few pager where you actually take the problem that the company has with this open role and just really write an action plan how you would tackle these problems. As a good example to give you, I don't know, Airbnb was looking to enter a new market in let's say Portugal, and they were looking for a marketing manager for Portugal. So that's why someone who applied for the role, they literally took like the neighboring countries' statistics of how they are doing marketing and said what would be a good action plan in terms of like statistics and graphs to enter the market. And I think that's so much of a value directly showing like how you approach things and what you would be adding, that it says more than a basic cover letter, right? So I really like that one. And other than that, the voice message, I think a voice says also a lot about you, positive, negative, interested, less interested. So that's something you can add to your like CV when you send the application. And then I was referring back to the classic referrals, you know, because they can be your cover letter because they say some good words about you, talk about your previous experience and suggest you for the role. So yeah. And then in the discussion, it was interesting that actually HR people were discussing this, which I really like, because for candidates, it's a good way to see what we think about it, you know, the person sitting on the other side. And they were also kind of admitting that they don't really read that it's quite soft and like dry without much information, a lot of copy paste. And yeah, they were saying that also, actually talking about videos, how controversial and biased it can be. Because I mean, we judge someone by the way they make us feel when we see them, right? And then Sanita, the HR specialist, she was saying, yeah, but then we would just hire people that we liked, that were sending good vibes. And I think it's interesting here because you really have to cut out the bias thing, you know, because not always the most outspoken person is the right one for the role, you know. So that's why I think there should be kind of a set format of how this cover video letter should look like, or how long it can be, so that it's not that you receive a series from Maija Ersin talking about why I would like to work for, I don't know, Smartists, for example, right? Because I don't know, you must remember, right, Ersin, from back in the times when we were recruiting, or maybe you don't remember, but we were also sending to every applicant like a link to 3 questions, and then each question needed to be replied in a video format. So the person just literally took their selfie camera and replied to these 3 questions in a video format. And that was so interesting also to see, because we said you don't need a cover letter, just film this video and here's a deadline. And I really like that. It was interesting also to see if people are committed, if they actually do something like that. Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of the video stuff, but okay, I spoke a lot. What do you think, guys, of cover letters and alternatives?
Well, from my side, I think in this time, for example, the resumes have become so variable. There are so many cool things I've seen, and to be quite honest, there is a small space always at the top of the resume where you can already put in your motivation letter if you are short, and you can think of a clever and smart way to present your motivation. You can do that in your resume. You don't have to write a 3-paragraph letter to explain your motivation for wanting to work somewhere. Okay, yeah, if it's a resume, like a general resume, it will be also a general motivation. But if you are sending the resume to a specific company, you can just upgrade it, like write something that could be specifically to that company, and you can put it in the resume. So in my opinion, no, it's not necessarily necessary to write a motivational letter, because yeah, me too, I don't really read them, I don't really write them. I have written one once myself. It was a pain to do it. But yeah, that's my take on motivation letters.
I actually have an idea. Maybe we could do like a live just about this topic, to be honest, because I kind of disagree to what you said, like with the small paragraph on the CV, because I hate when people do that, because usually it's not saying a lot why you would be good at a job. But it's interesting. We have different opinions. I like that. Ersin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's often like too generic. If you put it in your CV on the top, I'm super motivated to do blah 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 blah. In general, I hate cover letters. I have read so many bad ones. They are so time consuming to write, and I don't like them. I like the idea of a video cover letter. That's a nice idea. Also, the thing we had with the 3 questions. I think there are a lot of I don't know, what was the name of the app? Do you know it? I think it was Video.
No, Video, yeah.
Video
but I
or
don't
something like that.
Like that anymore.
I don't know if they still exist or not, but I think that was a good idea, definitely. But get rid of cover letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great topic.
Great topic. So, yeah, I would say let's go to the next one.
Let's do it.
There's me and my work space. Nice.
Is that where you sit right now?
That is actually very similar to what I'm sitting now. Yeah. Well, so I did touch something about resumes and how they should look, how can they look, and this is a very hot topic. So this is something that I do see very, very often. I do experience situations with candidates a lot. So you have your resume. You think it's fine. You have all the information that you think is necessary in there, and you are applying for a job. Okay, you send out your resume to a recruiter who sees them every day. And in our situation, we have gathered some kind of statistics based on what we are seeing and the way that the resumes are built. How successful are they? And a lot of times we do have some really, really great tips for your resumes. So let's just say if someone who is doing this for a living and is seeing very, very like various types of resumes all the time, and we also do see how successful are they when you're applying, take our word, we know what we speak about. So when it comes to a resume, and for example, you have some information that could very well help you get an interview or not, and if it's not there and we suggest that you put it in there, let's just say if you want the job, you should do it. Just because, believe me, it's not that we are trying to sell everything possible about you, but this is something that you should already have in your resume, so we don't have to over explain your profile. So you are a fantastic IT specialist, you have all this knowledge that, for example, we have spoken about before, and then I get the resume and half of it's not in there. So my impression of the person, if I would just see the resume, wouldn't be nearly as good if I'm actually seeing all the things that we just spoke about. So from recruiters' perspective, if we do give you some tips, most likely there are some very good tips and you should take on them. So this is very, very this is the thing that we are seeing the most, CVs all day,
Not
every day.
everybody is good in writing CVs, I would say.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely.
And I think that's why we are there to help, because our job is to help you get the job that you want to. And as we have so much information about the role, and we can give you some tips, like why not to use that in order to get the chance to have an interview, right? A time ago, we also developed a CV template that has like a nice format, because usually the first thing that's good about CV, or should be good about it, is the format. Like for the eyes, is it easy to read? Is it structured? Because that then gives a sense of a CV being good or less good. You know, it's not always about all the photos and colors and everything. It's about being easy to read, that most people pay attention to. So we developed a CV template. So in case someone wants to have it, feel free to reach out. We're happy to send it. It's very easy to read, and I would say like 90% of the candidates who use this template actually get the chance to have a first interview. So good statistic, right? But I think, like, continuing this discussion, it says so much about you, like what kind of CV you send, you know, because sometimes people don't update their CV and don't even put like the current role, and just drop you an old CV and are like, yeah, you like send my application. And I'm like, no, like not sending anything. Like, is that really the way how you want to present yourself to your future employer? You know, I think it has also something to do with little respect to yourself. So that's why I think it's worth taking time, be a little bit like collected for those couple of minutes when you update your CV, because that's how other people are going to see you. So it's definitely worth updating and
definitely. And I would mention that also shows a lot of motivation from your side. If you are willing and ready to do it, that really does show motivation, and motivation is key to applying to any position, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should like reply to, like, it should not raise questions, your CV, because if it raises questions, so many people don't want to do the next step in giving you a call and asking you about these questions, because they maybe feel uncomfortable. So that's why CV should really kind of have it all in there and not raise any extra questions, I would say, but just be inviting to have this first conversation to discuss the role.
What would be the best example for this question? For example, if there's like a 2-year gap and you haven't said anything about it, would that be a good example of a question rising?
Yeah, I mean, just mention the gap. Like, what was the reason why, like, you were out of work maybe for 2 years? Because we all have reasons for that, and life happens, you know. Even LinkedIn has now, like, in the job section, on your profile section where you have all the job experiences, you can add like a personal break, sabbatical, and I mean, it's a normal thing to do. So instead of kind of hiding it, just write in whatever you were doing, because that does not raise a question. Then it answers the question directly, you know.
Yeah,
and it makes you more human, I would say, as well.
Definitely.
CV. Let's have a crash course in CV, with picture or without a picture.
I don't care.
Really?
It doesn't matter.
It's not a deciding factor. It's a nice to have, but it's not a deciding factor, I would say.
No. I mean, it's interesting from country to country and from culture to culture. Like in US or in UK, for example, no one will ever come to idea of putting a photo in the CV. Whereas here, like Germany, it's kind of an unwritten rule that they want to see your picture. I even once had a discussion with a former manager of mine. They were like saying, yeah, but the application is not complete because there's not a photo of the person. And I was like, yeah, but does not make like any sense. We have the CV, we have everything else. Yeah, but we don't know how they look, as it would make a change, right? I don't know. What do you think, Ersin? Photo, no photo?
Yes, with a picture, definitely.
And what do you do with a picture?
I would put it in a CV, so I can get a good, I don't know, if you see somebody, you have a feeling about it. I know some people would say it's discrimination and blah, 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 but I think, and in Germany, we always put a picture in the CV, definitely. Mm-hmm. How many pages?
As long as it's not...
Depends on the seniority level of you, but I would say 2 to 3, it would be the sweet spot for me.
Mm-hmm. I would kind of go with the same. Depends on the seniority, but other than that, no longer than 3, I would say. But there's no set standard. Like, I don't want someone to think now, oh, I have 4 pages.
I have
like,
4.
Should I break it down? As long as you have like things to put in there that are relevant. Relevant is the keyword here. It can also be 4 pages. So, yeah.
But I think you can also do a CV with 5 or 7 pages and put some relevant information into it. But 7 pages for a CV is definitely too long. So I would say the 2 or 3 pages, not longer.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Now everyone knows how to write a CV. How long? But yeah, we can also actually do a live around it. Was that not your idea, Ersin? I think it was, right? Like cover letter, CV. It somehow feels like an old topic, but at the same time, we get so many questions about that. I even received now, like on LinkedIn, I have this providing services, right? Like what you give tips about and are happy to consult. I actually got someone reaching out. There's like an additional kind of page that pops up saying, hey, someone wants your services. They want, like this person wanted their CV to be checked. And they gave a bit more information about what needs to be checked and so, and yeah. It's like for people who don't deal with CV on daily basis, it's a thing, you know, and it's nice to hear that people want to make it right.
I see in the chat I have a fan. Alina is with my opinion. Yeah.
Greetings, Alina.
So, I would say jump to the next one.
All right. Oh, what do we have next? This is one. Every day I'm hustling. That's a song I have to think when I see this post, and that was the headline I wanted to catch everyone with. And yeah, it's a story about success, failure, and I kind of connected it with being an entrepreneur, with starting a company, which happened 2.5 years ago. And yeah, this post also got like 5.9 thousand impressions, 96 likes, and 10 comments. I think it's always like that with these posts. As long as you put a photo of yourself, everyone laughs about these like selfies and stuff, but it gets more attention, you know. And I'm a fan. Like if it's relevant, add the photo of yourself. It's fine, as long as it's relevant. Again here, but I wanted to discuss more in detail this whole hustling thing, you know, because people think when you have a company, you're a young entrepreneur, you're waking up at 5 a.m. doing sports, meditating, I don't know, having a nutrition breakfast, and only then start working. And I don't know, I read a lot of books about motivation and everything, and I had this feeling, I don't know, Ersin, you can say afterwards if it was the same with you, that when we established Smartist, we had to be all the same things, waking up early, like hustling our way around, you know. And it was kind of hard. It was putting like a lot of pressure on me, and I was having a feeling, if I'm not gonna wake up early, if I'm not gonna do sports, work over weekend, I'm not gonna be a successful one, or not gonna be seen as successful one. And yeah, that was hard. And it took some time until I got into a rhythm of myself, of my day, how I plan it, how I work. And at the end of the day, like after these 2.5 years, I can really say that it's more about not hustling, but like finding a way how your work works for you, like how you plan your day. I was once before the COVID started to one networking event, and there was a guy in a panel um, that everyone was kind of talking about, and they were like, yeah, but he's an entrepreneur who wakes up at 10 o'clock and late. And he was like, yeah, and I mean, it's fine. I still get my work done. And I was like, oh, it's nice that someone is kind of saying the opposite, because I'm more of a later um, a person who wakes up later as well. So yeah, like now the things that matter to me as a company owner or so is really like being in line with myself, how I feel about myself, take enough breaks, pay attention to how I feel doing sports, not working that much on the weekend, like really knowing when to say no to yourself. Because in the beginning, it was yes to everything. But I think the smartest way of working is by saying no to a lot of things, to say yes more to yourself. So yeah, that's what I was talking about in this post. But I think in the comment section, the most discussion was actually about the setup, because Ersin is a technology freak. So how everything looks today is because of him, how you see us. And also the setup, this is our setup back in Riga. Everyone was asking like, oh, nice setup. Like, how big is the screen? Where does it come from? But yeah, there were people saying, yeah, like if you love what you do, you're not going to notice these 12 working hours just passing by. I think in the beginning, probably yes, but on a long run, it's just not how a person can function being, I don't know, in our case, in front of the PC for 12 hours. So you need to find a balance in order to maybe work a lot, but still, yeah, be in a line with yourself. Someone was also suggesting meditation. I don't know how to meditate, to be very honest. If someone knows, I'm open to suggestions. I would love to try it out. I'm more into sports. But yeah, so that was my post. And I think, yeah, now I feel good. How do you see it, Ersin? We were doing it together. Did you have the pressure as well?
I don't really care what other people say. So I'm not
No,
a big fan of
don't.
you have to, I don't know, do this and this to be successful. I think to be successful is something, it's a mindset, something like this.
It's personal also, I think.
Yeah. So you have to do your work in time, and if you see the results and the results are good, you are successful. So if you are not good in what you are doing, then you have to change something. But I think we were lucky. In the beginning, we found our customers, so there wasn't any time of pressure or we have no money or something like that. So I'm really thankful for that. Yeah, that's all.
Absolutely. I think everyone can feel the two sides, me emotional, talking about things, and then Ersin being the more rational one. And I think that's why it works so well. But yeah, I think one of the things that I have kept in mind for myself that you were reminding me in the beginning a lot, he was like, as long as you're going to do your job, what you need to do, things will be fine and it will work out. So there's no need to stress about anything else. And you were right. It's exactly what it's like. So our job is to place candidates, companies where they can see themselves being long-term and also happy. And as long as you do that, your business will be fine, I guess. Right? Maija, how it was for you to join the hustle?
Well, I admired you guys from the very beginning. This is something that I was very, very proud to see. Like two of my so good friends making it on their own. It's being so young and making really taking on the risk, because there's always a risk of doing anything in life. But if you do take on this risk, and if you are successful, I mean, what not to admire? Even if you are not successful, even if you do fail, the fact that you took on the chance to make it, I mean, it's wonderful, it's great. And me, as a just from personal side, as a friend, I was very, very proud. And from the other side, now when I'm a part of the team, I'm also very proud to be a part of such a team, because I know that, yeah, I mean, I know, just I know the background of it. I know that the integrity is there. I know that the values are the same as mine, and they are real, and they are something that we really do live by. We breathe and we live and we speak them loud, and this is what we do. And I'm very, very proud. That's the key word for me.
Together. Yeah, we're in it together. So nice. Okay. Nice. Team Smartist. So cool.
Okay. Boom.
Boom. Wow. Oh, Maija. Talking about work-life balance.
Yeah, I mean, work-life balance is a real thing. Yeah, I mean, just actually even continuing what Liene was just speaking about, I mean, the pressure of doing anything in life, starting a business, doing your job, doing your everyday tasks, it's a lot. And if we do not take care of ourselves, then nothing will go right ever. So this is a big thing. I know for sure we are always speaking about like the technical side of jobs, like interviews, applications, CV, and so on. But mental part of it is a very, very big topic as well. To be mentally healthy, to go through the application process and not lose your mind, go through the interview process and still stay sane. All of it is just like there are many bricks in your brain, right? I mean, one brick is responsible for doing your everyday tasks. The other one is responsible for holding your emotions together while you are focusing on your work, just so there are no 2,000 thoughts in your brain at once. So mental part is something that I love to touch on a lot, actually, because this is something that has been yeah, I mean, in my life, I've experienced it all, I think, the stress related work problems and so on and so forth, leaving my job because of them. So I do think it's very, very important in this day and age to really touch upon this more often. So taking care of yourself any way you can. Okay, my post, of course, is about going to the gym, because this is what I do. This is what I live and breathe. This is what keeps me insane. But no, not insane. This is what keeps me sane. But I am a bit insane as well at times, so it's fine. But yeah, I mean, everyone should find their own like anchor where you can feel at peace, where you can collect your thoughts and be as productive as possible in your life, even if it's not a job, even if it's just applying to the job work. Like if you are, for example, if you're looking right now, if you are looking for a job and you are applying every day for hours straight, I believe your head is on fire at one point. And if you're not extinguishing it well, then you will live in some very crazy mental world. So yes, this is what I touched upon, just because it inspires me to see such posts in LinkedIn. There are some people who say, yeah, this is not relevant to the job world. Like, what are you, like, fitness? This is not a fitness site. But it's not really about fitness, it's about mental health. And mental health is something that I see covered more and more in other people's posts as well. And I do appreciate it myself. So this is the reason why I wrote about it, and people liked it.
Nice. I think one of the most like post with most impressions on the Smartist one page is actually your post about I think it was about burnout or like mental health as well.
Yeah, I think it was.
So yeah, it's nice to see that people pay attention to, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do our jobs if we were not in a mentally right place, right? So it's so important to pay attention to that. Do you know how to meditate by any chance? Do you meditate?
I have tried it. I have actually tried it, but there is like the type of meditation that they show you on films. So you're sitting in your Zen pose with your eyes closed, the birds are singing and the sun is shining in your face. That's not the reality. I mean, a lot of times you wake up, you have no motivation, no energy. Outside there's like no sun, everything is gray. So yeah, try to meditate, try to think about happy thoughts is a challenge for many people. So I think it's meditation for everyone. It's a bit different. For me, example, I do feel like when I put on my headphones, I listen for music, my type of music for 10-15 minutes. That's like a meditation for me, because I do switch off my mind. I do think about something else. I don't have to take on like a specific pose to do it. I can just lay in my bed and do it. But meditation, I think, is for everyone something different. So if you are not doing it like in the movies, don't worry. Doesn't mean that you cannot do it. It's just means that it's not your way of meditating, I would say.
Yeah, it's like success, right? It's so personal. And yeah, we shouldn't get no, nice topic that you talk about. I like it.
From health to success.
To success. Oh, all right. It's interesting actually that the posts from those weeks have a lot of our photos in them. That's what I noticed, right? For you, Maija, as well.
Yeah,
and mine
definitely.
as well. Actually, talking about this photo, I received a phone call from one of our clients referring to this photo, and they were saying like, yeah, you're always on holiday, like sitting on these rooftops and just drinking Coke and not doing much. And I was like, no, like I'm actually working. So it's also interesting how people like see you, right? Because here this photo was sending them a signal that I am just on holiday, which is actually a photo from our get together in Liepāja, where we all met last time. So yeah, but here I guess we're coming back to the topic before, like where I said I'm the emotional one and Ersin is the rational one, because here I actually spoke about being emotional, which is part of who I am, which sometimes does not help me in business, right? Because you can read from my face, hear from my voice how I feel about certain things. And sometimes it's good to translate that, but sometimes there are situations where it should be kept out. And I was here in this post actually speaking about the time where I would say I was not emotionally intelligent enough, because a key word in everyone's mouth, but that's how I feel about it. And it refers to my start not my start, but kind of one of my mid stages in recruitment, where I was hiring for the company internally, not externally for the clients as we do right now. And the person started, everything was fine, but after 3 months in their probation period, they resigned. So they left the company. And I took it like super personal. Like I was very into, oh my God, kind of being angry at myself because I thought I did something wrong. I did not meet their expectations. And on the other side, kind of also angry at the person leaving. It's like, why? Like, what is wrong? And I really liked that back then the manager of ours, like, Liene, hey, this is not about you. Like, you helped them to get the role here, explained everything about it. They made a decision. I made a decision to hire this person and they to come on board. So don't take it personally. But back then I was not mature enough, I would say, in the role, which made me kind of take it so personal. So yeah, I don't do that anymore, I would say. I mean, I think about it, but I do not act in a way that I did back in the days. And it was interesting to see the discussion, like is it good to show emotions in the business world? Is it a useful tool, useless tool? And it's interesting that mostly girls took part, or women took part in this discussion. I guess we're the more emotional creators here. But yeah, I like what Liene wrote here. And hi, Liene, in case you're watching, that emotions are helpful for us to navigate the life. And why would one decide to abandon such a useful tool? Which is true. But then again, yeah, a lot of people were talking about the emotional intelligence, that we need to know when to act in a certain way and when to maybe like close down some of the emotions. Yeah, that's interesting. That's something I'm working on. I don't know, how do you see it, guys? Business world, emotions. I think Ersin is gonna have an interesting
let's just
comment.
say, yeah, I know what Ersin is gonna more or less say. So let's just me add to the emotional side. I myself am a very emotional person as well. I show my emotions. It's the same. You can hear me when I'm happy. You can hear me when I'm sad. But I also try to not let it affect me too much. I always try to analyze the situation, like stand still, think about it, like no rush. I don't try to let my emotions control me. Like, I do have them. I do let them through, but I don't let them control me too much. I think that's the balance. I mean, you can have all the emotions you can want every day, all day, but just stay focused and not let it bother you or control you too much, or somehow make you act differently, is, I think, the key for me, at least. Let's take on a guy's perspective now.
I think it's not so easy to answer. There are definitely emotions there which are helpful, definitely, but I don't know. Especially in sales, emotion sells, of course, but if you are, I mean, in the selling with somebody, you keep your emotions out. It's a bit difficult to describe, but there are some emotions like what is Stolz?
Proud, when you're proud of something, right?
It's not the real proud. Yeah, I don't know. I think there are two sides of that. In managing people, emotions are good. You have to understand it, and you have to handle all the things. But on the other side, emotions, not too much. I think some of us have too much emotions, and some
no pointing fingers.
A bit less, but okay, it's fine. It's always depends on the person, I would say.
Yeah, I think what I would like to say here is, I would wish more emotions from candidates when they get a job, you know, because we are the ones making this phone call, like, hey, like, we have an offer, they want to hire you, like, would you like to take the job? And like a couple of days ago, we hired someone and they were so happy, and it made me so happy. But it's actually rare when you hear that someone is like genuinely happy and you can hear it. I would wish more of that. Maybe it's a cultural thing, but yeah. So in case you get hired, be happy, like, show your emotions, because the other side, like, it sends a signal. For me, it's like saying thank you, Liene, you know, for helping out.
Yeah.
So yeah. If you're happy, show it.
That's that's the emotional side, right? Like when we are leading the candidate through the whole process, we are living through the emotions. Also, like when he gets the first interview, we are like, yay. When he gets the second interview, even bigger yay. Like when he finally gets the job, like we are as happy as one can be. So yeah, sure, naturally. I mean, yeah, I would be the same exactly. Like when my candidate got the role and I spoke with him on the phone, we were both ecstatic. Like this was the I felt like I got a new job. Like not that I'm looking or something, but I was totally living through the emotions with him, and it was amazing. Yeah, so I can only advise that.
Yeah, that's the currency that we live on, I would say, as a recruiters, to hear that someone is happy. Happiness. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. On to the next one.
Boom.
It's like we ended the last conversation on the same perfect positive note, on happiness, positiveness, and so on. So yeah, positive candidate experience. What is it? Have I had it? Yes, I have. I have had it few times. And what was it for me? Basically, it was the feeling that I got from the whole process. So I have gone through processes of applying to jobs where I'm just sitting at home like for 2 weeks, having no idea what's happening, thinking that I probably didn't get the job. Yeah, sure, I could have called, I could have asked, I didn't do it, but still, I wasn't feeling any type of positive emotion in that time. So for me, I think the most positive candidate experience comes from being in the loop, knowing what's happening, having no 1,000 questions in your head, like being informed about the process. Like from the first stage of me speaking with a candidate, I then at the end of the conversation, I always explain what the process is going to be like now. So it's not like, okay, yeah, thanks for your time, I'll give you a call. And then he's just left wondering when he's going to get the call. So I do always explain the process, and I always, to my best ability, I try to follow up with it. So yeah, sure, we are busy. Every one of us is busy. Sometimes I can totally admit I do forget to call someone. I do forget to remind them of some certain things, but I always encourage them. If you have any questions, if you are, I don't know, if you don't really have the patience, you can just hit me up every possible way. And on LinkedIn, you can call, you can write a message. I will definitely answer you. But I always do try to reach out to people and let them know what's happening, because this, in my opinion, is very, very important. So as a candidate, you should know, have you been applied somewhere? Have you been, like, what's the process looking like now? Will you get the interview? If you do, what's going to happen next? When would the interview take place? What does the first interview look like? How many interviews are there? Like, there's the whole process behind the scenes, and you have no idea. Like, maybe I just applied to a job where there's like a 2-month, I don't know, process of going through 6 different interviews. Like, I would like to know that before I go further. Or maybe there's just one interview and I may be able to start work in 2 weeks. So I would maybe plan out my time until then. So being in the loop, being in the know is, for me, I think, the key for having a positive candidate experience, speaking from my side and the other one. How is it with you guys? What would you say?
I think it was last week when I saw a great picture on LinkedIn, a great post where there was I can have a look if I could find it.
I know which one it is. It was so good.
So
yeah.
You can have a little talk. I will organize it.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably know which picture he was talking about, Maija, as well, right?
Yeah.
That was very interesting. It's all about like expectation management, that you can plan your time as a candidate. I mean, as recruiters, we have the insights, how many stages the interview process will be like. Now you can see it. Yeah. So would you like to guide through, or should I do it? Or
you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so when you order something by Amazon, right, you always get an email. So thank you for your purchase. It's gonna come within a day or within 2 days with DHL or whatever. So you always know, and you receive these messages about each and every step, what is happening. And very often here, like in this example, you send your CV, and then it's kind of like going into a black hole. And then afterwards, like there was also a post this week or last week on LinkedIn where someone says, oh, like I applied for this role like 6 months ago and today received a rejection email. So thank you so much for that. So it's here about, that we should manage the process, because everyone wants to know where they're standing. And it's so easy to do, from recruitment perspective, because we know our clients, we know like the timelines that they already have, who is on holiday, who's not. Just keeping the person involved in the process up to date, I think, is the best thing we can do, because both of the sides, us and the candidate, of course the client, wants to find something as quickly as possible. So just giving them messages, calls about where they stand in the process, it's vital, because I mean, time kills everything these days. So yeah, but this is a great example. Speaks louder than 1,000 words. If Amazon can like detailing make their process visible for everyone, why can't HR do that, right? I mean, it's not a hard thing. But
Definitely.
I think that's it from the post perspective, right?
Yes.
I think we have some ideas for some other lives when it comes to CV and cover letter. I think we could speak about it for hours, but yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will continue with what we do here. So we will see us in 2 weeks. Let us know how you liked it or disliked it. We're very open towards your feedback. And see us then in 2 weeks. Have a great day, I would say. Ciao.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thank
Bye.
You. Bye.